Hey guys, we're the Sports Addicts podcast, and we're back again to talk about the Raptors and the recent wins against the Lakers and the Heat. So, Joel, what are your thoughts?
I think the Raptors are definitely for real. Starting off with their coach, Nick Nurse, he's really innovative. Obviously, as we saw last year in the finals, the box and one defense, which is like a middle school or high school defense, he used that against Steph Curry. And one thing I want to point out is that at the beginning of the season, when the Raptors before the NBA restart, the Raptors were still number 2 in the East, and they got to a majority of those wins without van-vleet. Siakam missed plenty of time. Gasol missed plenty of time. They struggled with all those injuries, and yet they're able to hold on to their defending title status, and they were the number 2 seed, and that's really a testament to how good of a coach Nick Nurse is. And moving on to their players, they have Siakam, who's a candidate again for most improved player. No one saw this leap coming. He's playing at obviously made his first All-Star team this year. He's actually playing at an All NBA level this year, whether it be driving and kicking. So when he drives the paint, that really opens up lanes for everyone else. And moving on, and then you also have Kyle Lowry, who's a veteran point guard. He plays with so much effort, draws about 50 charges a game, and he's such a veteran passer, savvy passer, and he can also hit threes. And that's like one of my main reasons for why I'm so hyped about this Raptors team is that they can shoot threes so well. They're one of every single Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry, even their centers, Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka, they can all shoot threes very well. And now you have all these role players such as OG Anunoby, Terrence Davis. They also are able to shoot threes. And another thing is that this Raptors team is so versatile defensively. I mean, their average length is off the charts. They're so long, and as we saw against the Lakers, they pestered Anthony Davis and LeBron. Anthony Davis, who's been going off in the bubble, besides that Toronto game, he's averaging like 38 points a game or something. He put up a dud against the Raptors when he only scored 14 points. And the thing is, the Raptors, every single one of their starters, they're not a liability defensively. I mean, some of them don't have guys such as Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet. They don't have the height, but they're really, really pesky. They'll sweat the ball. They'll go for the steals. And as you see, Nick Nurse's scheme, it doubles the best player on the other team, as we saw with Davis and last year's Steph Curry. And I feel like Nick Nurse's coaching schemes, they will lead to perfection. And I actually believe that the Raptors can make the finals this year. I don't know about winning the finals. If you match them up with the Clippers or the Lakers, it'll be tough for Toronto to win a 7-game series. But I definitely think that they will win the East this year, beating the Bucks and other teams in their way. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, so for Toronto, obviously the roster is super deep, even though since they made the finals last year, even though they did lose Kawhi Leonard, their superstar. But I feel like Pascal Siakam obviously did take a step up this year, and I feel like the roster is long. They're really pesky. They're guards, even though they don't have the height, they're definitely great defensively. And I feel like the Raptors are a team to watch out for. But I feel like when it comes to playoff basketball, you need a guy who can close the game. And I don't think this Raptors team has that. I was watching the Heat game the other day, right? When in the closing minutes where the Raptors are struggling to get baskets, right? Like they allowed the Heat to come back in that game. At one point, they're up like 17 points, and they let that Heat team come back. And if you look at every team in the Eastern Conference, like that are really significant and are finals contenders, every team has a closer. If you look at like the Sixers, they have a variety of them with like Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. If you look at the Bucks, obviously they have Giannis. If you look at the Heat, they have Jimmy Butler. You look at the Pacers, they have like a Riddle, Oladipo, and stuff like that. But I feel like if you look at the Raptors, every one of their players are like above average players. Even though Pascal Siakam has played like that, I don't think he is the type of guy who could close games for them. And I feel like if it comes down to a close game and like a 7-game series, which in playoffs is pretty much always close, I feel like the Raptors are going to really struggle.
I disagree with your point about having a closer. The Raptors have actually a variety of closers. They have Siakam, he can close. Lowry's a veteran who can close. We saw with VanVleet, he went off for 36 points. They have so many different guys that can pop off at any moment. And I believe that the role players that they have will definitely they actually, in my opinion, they probably might be the best. They have like the Raptors are the best role players in the NBA. OG Anunoby, he's broken out in the bubble. Gasol's great. Gasol, there's a center duo of Gasol and Ibaka. They both of them can hit threes, both of them can play in the post, and both of them are great defensively. The amount of versatility that this Raptors defense has and their ability to stop transition defense, they're one of the best transition defenses in the NFL. And I believe that their strategy is going to be a success. As they've beaten the Lakers, they've beaten the Heat, and I really don't think it's going to be that much of a challenge to beat other teams going on.
Yeah, but I feel like when you look at the Raptors, right, they do have some variety of closers, as you said, but I feel like none of them have been proven closers, right? If you look at like teams like Giannis, right, he obviously is a superstar in the NBA, and he's obviously going to win MVP probably this year. And I feel like the Raptors, if it comes down to a close game, which it almost always does, right, when you play like the teams like the Celtics in the second round, right, or like teams like the Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals, it's going to come down to a close game, as you can see in the bubble, like in the games against the Lakers and the it was always close, right? And against the Heat as well.
Yeah, but they won, exactly. Like they still managed to pull out with the win.
Yeah, but if you look at the Heat game especially, right? If the Heat didn't make 2 careless turnovers at the end of the game, the Raptors wouldn't have won. They couldn't score at the end. In the last 2 minutes of this quarter, they couldn't score. They couldn't find a guy who could score. The only way they really scored was basically the Heat fouling them after turning the ball over too many times. So if you look at the Raptors roster, you won't find one guy who you can say, oh, go get me a bucket when I need one. You won't be able to find one, and I feel like that's just really gonna derail the Raptors season this year.
I don't know. I actually think that the Raptors, their motto of they actually I feel like strength in numbers is like a good motto for them. They as I said before, they have a variety of closures. I mean, yeah, sure, they didn't score against the Heat, but that's just one game. And your point about like guys like Giannis and all those guys closing. The Raptors have one of the best defenses in the NFL. They will be able to stop those guys from scoring. You have the Heat. They scored. They put up so many points on the Nuggets team. Although injury riddled, they still put up that many points. They held that Heat team to like 100-something points. They also held a high-scoring Lakers offense to 100-something points. Their defense is really what keeps them in the game, and they really don't have need with the. They really don't have. They don't need a closer. When their defense is this good. So, yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, but if you look at their games last season, right, in the playoffs, every single game Kawhi Leonard was obviously their closer, right? He was great, and this year without him, I feel like that team doesn't have a guy they can rely on. Like say, like against the Heat, Fred VanVleet popped off, right? He's not going to do that every single game in a 7-game series for them to win. So,
OG Anunoby is actually a great defensive player. He's been taking up.
Yeah, I'm not arguing that they're bad defensive players, right? But at the end of the day, if you can't score points, you're not going to win. You can stop teams to 100 points every single game, right? But if you cannot score points in the fourth quarter, you're not going to win. And I feel like that's the one thing the Raptors lack. And I know their coach is great, but this team really reminds me of like an Atlanta team a few years ago where they had 4 All-Stars. And the team is a good motto, is strength in numbers. You're definitely right about that. But I just feel like it's more applicable to the Warriors because they have the superstar and Steph Curry. They have really good All-Stars and Draymond Green and Klay Thompson back in the day. So I feel like this Raptors team just isn't the same.
I don't know. It will be interesting to see. I mean, once the playoff picture gets more clear, to see all those first-round matchups. And we'll see if the Raptors can go away with as the Eastern Conference champs. So this will do it for our video about whether the Raptors are for real. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.